One of the frequently asked questions online is like how to escape the rat race. For that, we need to understand what is a rat race and how it is actually designed and how we actually getting into it. Then finally we look into how to get out of it. Welcome to Ask Raghulan. Thank you for all the love and support. If you like my videos, subscribe to the channel. And this video is sponsored by armorado.com, so you can find products like these. And if you do traveling, touring, adventure sport, you might find a lot of products that will be useful for you. Check it out. So before we get started, just a little thing, guys. If you want to protest my view, put it politely so people can argue back with you and you can learn from each other and make it as a good debate. If you're going to throw hate or sarcasm, basically people are going to throw it back at you and it's not going to be really fun. And also if you're going to use profanity, it's basically the people who are very less intelligent. They don't have anything smart enough to say it, but still they are angry. They use profanity. So those comments will be deleted. So make sure that the comments are basically valid, logical, and then bring a healthy argument. So I'm not saying that I'm 100% right. So, there are a lot of things I could make a mistake. You can make it right, but make it politely so we can learn from each other. Okay, what is a rat race? Rat race sounds like a bad word. 99.9% of the world runs on a rat race. Technically, the world functions on the rat race. Without the rat race, world will not function. If you go to any country, if you see like from a road to sewers to buildings to offices to even government buildings, anything that is functioning in any part of the world, it is run by working class population, nothing else. So the working class population do all this sort of stuff. They build the world, they maintain it, they keep it running, they repair it, they do all this sort of stuff. Now for that to work, the rat race need to exist. So that means the struggle has to be there, because if you give too much for the rat's going to sleep. So if you give them too little, the rat's going to die. But if you give them right, the rat's going to get hungry once in a while and then they're going to keep running. As long as they keep running, you can extract work from them. You can extract the energy from them, put it to some good use. So that technically the struggle that working class people face almost in any country is all synthetically created to get the world keep going. Rat race is basically you start your journey, you go to school, the purpose, we don't understand, we study all the subjects and we clear with good marks, we get a degree, and then we'll go to a job and then we keep working. We will not be able to retire at 30. So we keep working and then we get a family and then we keep working more. And then once the last bit of energy is all gone, then the system will throw away. Basically, you're at 65 years or 70 years or whatever the max that you can do it. After that, basically, the system doesn't need you. So that's basically how the engine works. That's how the rat engine works. So now I'll give you an example. It's called anadromous species. It's a fish called salmon. What it does, it basically starts its journey in the bottom of a river and then it goes to the top of the river. It's climbing and jumping. It's like a very hard journey. It does that and then it goes to the top of it and then it makes it new babies and then it dies. Basically, that's its whole life. We could have asked that fish could have stayed in the bottom of the river. It could have made the babies there. But unfortunately, that is how it was programmed inside it. For some reason, in US, what happens is when people made dams and these sort of upstream flow was actually completely blocked. So what happens is these fishes starts actually dying much quicker. They were not even breeding. So they have to make an artificial upstream for these fishes to climb to the top. So technically it was programmed inside them. The struggle is basically programmed. So technically the people in the working class who's just doing the rat race, the struggle is basically programmed. So they have to struggle. Basically that's part of it. Now rat race is not all bad because most of the people will not be able to survive out of the rat race. So we might actually think that, oh yeah, so I'm actually doing some meaningless job and I could do this and stuff like that. But running a company is not that easy. So even if you take someone from the rat race and you give them $1 billion, ask them to go and create a company, build some softwares and things like that, most people will not be able to do it. And they will not have the mindset and they may have the skill set, but they don't know how to execute. So that is where, most people come back and go back to the rat race. That's what happens when people win a lottery. If you see many people who win lotteries, they lose the money and then they come back and do what they were doing. And there are plenty of stories about it. So now, how do we even get into the rat race? Who guided us? If you look at it from your childhood, where you turn towards for a better future, you turn towards asking from your parents, you turn towards asking for people who have finished their studies and they're working, and then you turn towards your teacher. If you look at all three people doesn't know how to get out of the rat race. They are very good at working in the rat race. They are basically experts of the rat race. If you get their guidance, basically you're going to be expert in a rat race. What happens is your parents basically drop you into the school and say that, okay, basically your future is here, go and study well and you can have a better future. And what happens is you get taught by some subjects by some teachers and the subjects changes every year. So you will study physics 1 in 1 year and the next year you will study advanced physics and whatever it could be. But apart from the subjects, the teachings of the school doesn't change. Pretty much, you're locked in a space for 8 hours. You're basically getting trained on sitting in a closed room for 8 hours. And even if you want to go for a restroom, you have to ask a permission. And that permission doesn't come easy for everyone. And you cannot ask frequent permissions as well. And on top of it, you'll be given exact amount of time at exact time every day to have your food, to go and play and things like that. And and playtime is very limited, probably 2 periods a week. I think it's still the same from my days. And then you're not allowed to go out. There is a very strict authority that you can feel it around you. You feel that you are powerless, and you feel that you're not capable of making any new decisions there. Technically, if you look at it in a school, if they tell you that, okay, go and do this, and the steps are basically step 1, step 2, step 3, good. And then if you do all that, if you do it quicker, you basically the topper. But if you think about a 4th step, basically you're a backbencher. The system doesn't like you, and people say that you're not disciplined, you're not focused, you're not meant to do that. So now what happens is, like, as you grow, you're designed, you're trained, you're basically made to do things what is being told to you, and you're going to repetitively keep doing it without asking any questions for the fixed amount of time, with the pleasure of having food at the exact same time every day. And what happens after that is more scary, because once you come out of this education, basically we call it as a professional education, such as a degree or something, most people doesn't know how to build a resume. Most people doesn't know how to make money. Most people doesn't know how to go into a company and feel home. That is the most classical example of failure of, the system not even training them properly into the rat race. It's like, you study a course called civil engineering, and you study it for 4 years, and after that you go to an office where you basically gonna start your career as a civil engineer, and you don't find anything common from your uni to your workplace. Basically they look completely alien. The way you work and way you think and way you do solve problems and way you design, everything is different. Technically, that company will be training you for another 6 months to put you onto a job where you can actually do some useful work. Now, all these 4 years, what you were trained, basically sit there and whatever they tell you, sit and do it for 8 hours. Don't ask any questions and things like that. So now you're basically registered for the rat race, successfully have started your journey. Now what happens? So now people will think that, okay, now I got a bright future, I'm going to grow rich and all that sort of stuff. But technically, the life goes on a rhythm, and it doesn't give you too much happiness, excitements as you think it might happen. And then the working class lifestyle kicks in. So you start with something. Now, only thing that gives you a kick is basically, only thing that you want to achieve is basically upgrading your lifestyle. And what happens is you always chase what you could afford to what you want. It's always like that. And that's basically starts from the moment you get your first salary to the time until you retire, where after that, it goes like that. Now you understood how the world works, and now you understand how fast the money goes off your hand is not the same speed you get the money back into your hand. So by the time you understand that, you already made almost all the mistakes. And now what happens, especially when we start our careers and things like that, we make quite a bit of mistakes. We actually train ourselves incorrectly, because every time, even now, if you go to any middle class person, and then if you, like, including myself, if you give any working class person a lot of money, first thing they think about is like how all they can spend that money. If I tell you this, like, okay, I'm going to give you $1 million, what you going to do? Most people will think like, okay, what all the ways that I can spend? That's basically embedded into us, because let's say from the time you grow up, you look at it, every portion of your life, there is a whole bunch of companies which basically target you from the early age, from toys and the teenage time, from the bikes, cars, to your phones, to dress and fashion and everything. And then from the time you go to work, everything, you walk on the road, you see all the billboards is targeting you. They are not targeting people who are not making too much money to people who are making too much money. So it's basically targets the exact gap is basically the working class population. Every billboard targets them. Every TV ad targets them. Every mobile phone ad that you see it's basically targeting a working class. Have you ever seen an ad for a Ferrari or a Lamborghini on your phone or your TV? You will not see it, because everything is targeted for you, because they know that you are the easiest choice. You give money much more easier than people who have very less money and people who have a lot of money. So, these guys are pretty simple. These guys show them something and flash them something, trigger their ego, they'll go and buy it. And almost like every brand, they don't target you, they target your ego. And also look at us, like what we do is we don't find ourselves proud to say that, okay, I'm an Olympic champion, CEO of a company, holding like 5 patents and invented like this stuff and things like that, founder of an open source. We don't actually say anything like that to be something which is proud of. We say that I have a Rada watch, I have a Mercedes Benz, I have a cool Adidas t-shirts and things like that. So basically the thing that makes us cool is not something or accomplishment. It's basically what we wear and what we hold. So the brands target your ego to keep struggling. So that means you will stick to the rat race, because without the need to upgrade your lifestyle, you generally will have more money, and that means you're not going to run as fast in the rat race. So to keep you in the struggle, give you more temptations, and you fall for the temptations as well. If you don't fall, the typical middle class will come into play and they will say you already been working this much time, where is your car? So you're not making that much money, you're a failure. Okay, now you get married, now you get a children, now you do this. Basically it's a syllabus. That's a separate video in which I'm going to do it. But if you don't fall within the syllabus, the middle class will come back at you. So that's another thing. So that means the concept of money for a working class is it's all about spending. It's it's not about investing. We look at the capital, and only thing that we think about is like how to spend this capital. Not about, let's say, invest this capital and returns we can spend it. No, we don't have patience for it. The final thing is like the way that we make money is basically sell our time, which is the world's most precious thing. Because out of all the time that you live, you might think that you're living for 100 years, but almost 33 years you sleep. So, and then you spend so much of other time scrolling and TV and driving and traffic and everything. And then on top, you have like around 5 or 6 years or something you spend with your productive time to build yourself and build what you are. And then you spend most of the time wasted time. And then what happens is you throw your time. You basically sell your time for money. And then that continues until you're 60. I mean, like if someone gives you 10,000 rupees extra for the next month, and then, okay, you join my company, I'll give you 10,000 rupees, you'll go directly and join. And you don't think about, okay, my time is more valuable now. Let me actually stick to the same salary. Let me work less and then put the extra time building my own brand, building my own company, building my own vision. So no, we will just keep selling our time until the time is all over. And finally, people around us, they don't respect our time because they see us, we throw time pretty cheaply. We don't try to upskill or much value for our time. On the other hand, when people see us spending wasted time on TVs and things like that, okay, this guy is already wasting time, and then they'll come directly to you and then say, okay, let's go to a movie. They don't even think that your time is valuable. They don't even plan things. They don't even inform you. If your friends and family coming to you and say that, okay, let's go to a movie today, let's go to temple today, and basically if they're making plans for you, that means like you basically showed them that I don't respect my time. I don't value my time. I throw my time everywhere. So come and grab some. We can keep going. So let's finish up with this one. We'll catch up again on another video. And if you have any comments, please put it forward, and we'll see you next video. Thank you so much. And if you like my videos, subscribe.